Hello everyone and welcome back to This is the Police. It's day 80, Freeburg, October the 2nd on a Wednesday. Beat Pushers, oh dear, we've gone off to a great start, haven't we? I've done it again, see? Beat Busters, Dawn Studio organises performance near Corn Monument. The fact beauty contestant breaks leg. Analysis, oh god, it's going great. Analysis, most contraband passes through dockyard, and let's see how everyone likes us. Everybody loves us, you can lead to a horse, but you can't make a horse drink. No, probably not. Bess didn't come into work today. Why did she not come into work today? My father's funeral is today, can you relieve me? No, I don't like you because you have a stupid name. And you're too tired, you can hardly walk straight, can you go home? Yes, but come back tomorrow. No, just yes. I don't remember which one I chose. It doesn't matter anyway. What about our investigators? All of these are there. Everyone else is there. It's all good and lovely. People will go and rest up and do their thing. That's all great. I think the police union won't like me for having all those people who are so tired that I have to send them home. Anyway, we can get City Hall. We can request more stuff. We'll just more of everything. We can hire 3 new people. Oh, here we go. Oh, so we want to fire that person at some point. So we can hire Rick Dixon. Yeah, we'll do that for B shift. Jonathan Fall and Scott Huang. Or, yeah, we'll go with this one out here because that's way better for our diversity figures, isn't it? Yeah. So let's hopefully see these people here. No indications that they're drunk or anything. Yeah, you didn't want to come into work. Can we fire them? Let's have a look, see in here and see what we can find out here. What about Helen O'Hanra on fire? No legitimate reasons. Totally disappointing. What about the other ones? Are they all both down here? I think there might be. What about Mr. Spangley here? Let's see. Fire. No, nothing there. What about J-Books? Fire. No, disappointing. We have a suicide threat at the high school. A middle school. Hang on, a middle school or high school? Come on, get your facts straight. Student locked herself in the chemistry teacher's office and is loudly threatening to mix herself a lethal cocktail and drink it. The teachers are afraid to break down the door and report that the girl has shown unstable behaviour in the past. According to one of the girl's classmates, I think someone broke her heart, but I don't know the details. We'll get Mr. Spanky and we'll get Jay down there. Maybe the girl will throw some chemicals in their faces and give them horrible burns and blind them, and that will be good for me because they'll no longer be working for me. Sadly, nobody threw acid in their faces. You ran away, which is good. Officers were unharmed, which is disappointing. The Matthews got something going down today at the pawn shop at 16:39 hours. Wouldn't want any policeman. You think $2,000? Theft at the Everyday Mall, though. A saleswoman at a clothing store called to report a theft. A girl exited the dressing room wearing 4 t-shirts and made quickly for the exit. The scanner at the store entrance sounded its alarm, but the thief managed to slip through and ran into the street. Well, you can't really slip through that alarm because it, just 2 things that scanning would ever go through. It's not particularly important. Let's get Jensen and Cunnilingus down there. We also have fraud at the Touch of Dionysus liquor store. A cashier started flirting with the customer, asking her to show him her ID or he wouldn't sell her a bottle of wine. He then called the police, insisting that it must be a fake ID. She couldn't just be 35 years old. I'll give her 29 tops. Listen, don't call the police because... that's not... No. Well, I mean, I suppose there could be an idea at... Yeah, we'll get J-Books and Mr. Spanky down there. Now, it's quite interesting with the store alarm. That happened to me in London once. I walked in and it went off. And nobody gave a shit. Nobody... I think it was at Victoria Station, actually, at the Marks and Spencer in there. Or it was at the time, anyway. Yeah, okay, you got lots of action going down, don't you? Christ, I don't care. I was talking, you interrupted me. Yeah, we had lots of stuff. I just went off there, nobody gave a toss. Well, just carried on walking. Nobody gave a toss. Why wouldn't you give a toss about that? I don't understand that. You got those alarms, you don't care about it. Fraud. The woman's ID was legitimate. Yes, as I suspected. Hopefully you gave him a right good bollocking. Now, have an armed robbery. 3 armed men attempted to rob a pawn shop, but the security system was too much for them. The doors are all locked and the assailants are trapped inside. They're threatening to kill the owner unless they're immediately released. But we can get a couple of coppers down there, can't we? Ooh, we can't get enough, though. I kind of would like to see that one staffed up because it's, a bit of a robbery going on. Go on. Finish it up, damn it. There we go, we got enough now, I think. We get Jensen. No, hang on, we want to get those 2 coppers down there, because they might die. And I want them to die. I want them to not work for us down here. Let's get Jay, Max Banky, Jay, Jensen, Cunnilingus, and Gorshkov, and Degar. What about out here at St. John's Hospital? Several hospital patients have complained that they've lost valuables and money. Well, we'll get Cecil and Mitchell down there. Robbery. Oh, Christ. Jesus. A van approached the bank just as it was closing. 3 masked men jumped out. Yeah, we've assigned everyone. Hopefully somebody will make it back in time. Otherwise, the bank robbery will go sort of undealt with. It's rather a shame that you can't reassign officers on the fly. I mean, I get... Oh, Christ, on a bicycle. Yeah, I get why they haven't done that, because it's, a video game is not meant to be a realistic simulation. But it would just be nice to see that out here. Oh, yeah, I forgot that was him, wasn't it? And one of the victims said she saw an old janitor quietly rummaging through the ward, the theft out of the St. John's Hospital, that is. Interrogate the other witnesses, go to the nurse's office and announce over the loudspeaker that all janitors are under arrest. That's a bit extreme. Search the janitor's closet. Let's go ahead and do that. A grey-haired janitor wearing overalls tries to quickly sneak away, carrying a big bag. Chase him with a hospital gurney. Why would we carry the gurney? Run after him or hold it right there. Let's go for that one. And we caught the offender, and officers were unharmed. Not surprising, given the fact that they're very experienced coppers. Hopefully, these coppers will make it back so they can go to that one in time, although this will be really close. Oh, I don't think so. Oh, I really doubt it. Oh, come on, come on. No, they're driving too slow. Shame. That's really annoying. Armed robbery call, offenders called, officers unharmed. Robbery, yeah. At least nobody died. That's all I can say about that. Yeah, whatever. We don't have any... we do have officers available now, so they just missed it. The public indecency at Tassaya Park. There's a couple of elderly men sitting on a bench in the park playing strip poker. 5 people are already called in to file a complaint. I've never seen anything more disgusting in my life, said one Kathleen Bethune. Well, they can go down there. Hopefully they'll get beaten to death by their old penises. We got new reports over here. No frames found by Weaver. We now come up here with the public indecency call at Tassaya Park. One man victoriously jumps to his feet, throws his cart down on a bench tent. He's bare arse towards the playground and shouts, "Ha, I won." Grab the suspect's clothing and run. Throw the coat on him and arrest him. Shield his body from the children's arse. Let's go in and arrest. Arrest. What? How does that work? Oh well, let's go in here. Homicide, no new frames. What about the homicide here? No new frames. Well, let's have a look on our investigations in general just to see what we have here. Let's go into the details and see if we have anything here that we can actually work with. Ooh, I don't think so. Yeah, this is the one here. The fatal blow to the head. The killer was standing behind the victim. Death was immediate. No signs of violence. But apart other signs, good, that was not missing. Fiona arguing, and then, yeah, yeah, so they may have had a fight here. Yelling at her son, he also in front of the TV. So they may have had an argument. Let's see here, swearing with her brother. So they've had an argument first, and then she's gone off to have a bit of an argument with her son. And which one could that be? And then it could be that one, and that one. No. Let's try and move these around and see if any of this works out. No. What about here? No. What about that? No. Ooh, this is a good one, isn't it? Because I'm kind of stuck here. Hang on, can I not hire a private investigator? Well, which one is this? Is this the one with the meat cleaver and that? Let's try and go in and see if it is. Details, yeah, that's a meat cleaver one. What else do we have here? We've got this one. Details, let's see if this is... Hang on, are they investigating the same thing? It feels like these people here are investigating the same thing that these people are. That seems horribly inefficient, doesn't it? Let's archive... Let's see. Well, who are you working for? Are you working today? Yeah, you are. Are you working today? Let's have a look here. Details. No. Yeah, you are. Good. I'll archive this up here. Archive it. And I'll go in here, detectives, and I'll just reassign those investigators onto this one. If I remember which ones were assigned to it. Probably those two, right? Yeah, I got it right. So they're on that. I can then go in here. What about this one? Details. They are working today as well. Let's see. Who's working tomorrow? Let's go in here and see the double homicide. They are working tomorrow, so we can get Kurdo on it. What about this one over here? The hit and run. They're also working tomorrow. This one here, what are they doing? Details. They are working... Oh dear. Yeah, they're also working tomorrow, actually. But what I can do here is fuck all, I think. Yeah, we can't. Then in here, details, they are working today, so let's get Johnson on that one. Oh dear, and details here with the double homie. Oh, but they're working tomorrow as well. And then we got that one, and then what about Beasley? Oh, he's also working tomorrow. Christ. We'll hold one off there and just wait with that then. Christ. Our deputy can indeed go in here and hire a consulting detective, but that's very expensive. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure I want to do that. What about send my staff to training? Yeah, let's try and do that. Can we actually assign, or we can assign people that aren't actually working here. We may want to try and do that, actually, with some of our people. Yeah, we go in here, we send Jolt Threadaway on that, just to give him a bit of a training up. And it's the end of the day, whatever day we're on, I just forgot. But we have these people here. Do we want to ask anyone to stay in for tomorrow? No, we want to give everybody a bit of a rest up out here. I mean, certainly this is the wrong shift to be looking at that, isn't it? We'll get cracking on here with the next day, which is... Oh, no, we won't.
Boyd.
I don't have much time, so listen close. We got him, Jack. The dentist is in our custody.
Wow. Congratulations, Ethan.
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure if it's our guy. But she's definitely the one who committed the murders in Freeburg. And it's a young woman.
Wait a second, did you...
A very large, very strong woman. What? Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, I'm sorry, Jack, I gotta go. We've got a briefing. But, something's not right, Jack. Someone's leading us around by the nose. We'll talk later, okay?
I'd almost forgotten the feeling. The feeling you get when you stay on the sidelines during a major bust. But I don't think I'll be out of the game for long. Palmer had nothing to do with this. The dentist, whoever he is, was a gift box meant for me. It just got delivered to the wrong address. And I've got a hunch who packed the box.
So the question is, as I've just thought here, could it be that woman thing that we talked about that was raped by the mayor? Perhaps, we don't know. That could be the dentist. City Hall, what? Why don't you, what? I mean, the Mafia have fucked them right off these past couple of days, haven't I? But they don't give two shits. But City Hall, oh dear, they don't like me for no good reason whatsoever, seemingly, anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, a box of Caesars.
With that outfit, I could see you coming a mile away, Mr. Boyd.
Ah, Mr. Chaffee. Knowing your love of theatrics, I was afraid you'd keep the mystery surrounding the dentist going for at least another day or two.
What could you mean, Mr. Boyd? Well, it's true. Robespierre does have a passion for mystery and the dramatic. But there's no need to confuse the actor with his character. For you, I'll play the hurried businessman who likes to cut to the chase. That's not quite me either, but though this mask I wear is quite a burden, I have long grown used to it. Besides, I don't want to distract you from your 180-day quest, not for a second longer than necessary. My, is half your time already up? You simply cannot imagine, Mr. Boyd, the painstaking work I've done to cultivate this maniac image. I turn to such literature the likes of which I wish I never knew. If our law enforcement agencies possessed even the slightest aesthetic sense, they would have instantly seen the game for what it was. And the postcards, what can I say?
And if the real dentist turned up again at the wrong moment? I don't imagine lunatics take kindly to imposters.
The dentist died of a heart attack last spring while he was sunbathing on the beach. I discovered this quite by accident, from a university friend, a therapist. It was he who convinced the dentist to stop killing, by the way.
Why the murders? Obviously they'd all been raped by Rogers. It would have been much easier to just get them to talk.
Mr. Boyd, the last thing I want is to appear a brutish butcher. I spent enough time on these women to know they were no use to me alive. Not sure if I should be ashamed to say it, but Stuart Rogers far surpasses me in his ability to intimidate people. Apparently, such things only come with experience. But murder? For that I truly do feel ashamed. It's a burden I shall have to bear for the rest of my days. But sadly, it's not my greatest shame.
What could be more shameful? To frame an innocent woman for such terrible crimes?
What? Are you unhappy with a woman cast as the serial killer? Firstly, I'd say dear Jordan adds a certain grace to the whole sordid story. And second, of all the people I hold in my debt, she's the strongest. And not just physically. Third, she had good reason to settle her debt with me as quickly as possible. Without going into details, I'll just say that she's a very, very caring mother. Do these taste good? Had we met earlier, Mr. Boyd, I would have shown you a far more refined pleasure, one without such an unpleasant smell.
I'm afraid to even imagine what you count as pleasures, Mr. Chaffee. Fountains of blood in the city square?
Mr. Boyd, you're not listening to me at all. I didn't take any enjoyment from the killings. Everything I've done was of strict necessity. I couldn't make Jordan kill all the women that Rogers raped. That would have been excessive. If I had made her kill them all, you'd be rather upset, no?
I can't say I fully understand your plan, Mr. Chaffee, but you've given me more than enough reasons to arrest you.
Yes, but allow me to counter them with one good reason not to. I think you mentioned you dined here once?
Yes, not the best restaurant in town.
And maybe you're just not familiar with the full range of our services.
Can I just say that this feels like a really terrible idea, going in here with a serial killer on your own? Jesus fucking Christ, Jack.
When I inherited this tasteless place from my father, I knew I could never make it into an exquisite restaurant. Instead, I accentuated the atrocity of it all, an aesthetic of a different kind. Now I even live here. To me, this complex is like a microcosm of Freeburg. But we're not here to talk about that. At school, I read a French novel whose name doesn't need mentioning, and I read many amazing things. It seems that in Paris, just before the Revolution, certain places were quite popular. People of wealth and taste visited from the city, shed their luxurious coats, peeled off their white gloves, and with the help of the local farmer, they brutally stabbed a hole in a bull and decorated themselves with the splattering blood as they prepared a large piece of meat for the fire. In the bull's suffering, these effeminate aristocrats found a perverse sort of pleasure. Now I make these pleasures available to the people of Freeburg. I will be honest with you. People who pursue such cruelty truly are crazy. But what is interesting? The best steaks are cut from the tender meat of young bulls. 11 months is just right, beautiful, healthy, full of strength. But these wealthy degenerates who pay $7,000, so our experts will show them where to plunge the blade for maximum effect. Even they don't have the spirit to slaughter the young bull. The thought never enters their minds. They look into the eyes of the healthy animal, bursting with energy, and they quickly shuffle past. As if by instinct, they are drawn to the old, weary, fading bulls. And then, with terrible smiles on their faces, they chew through tough steaks that taste of burning rubber. They feel that they're doing something real with their own hands, a sort of natural selection, as if they're agents in the natural process. But nature also teaches us that the old beast, unable to fend off any threat, might yet survive if it cowers in a dark corner and pretends it doesn't exist. Then, perhaps, the young predator will pass. Mr. Scott will drive you back. I'm late for an appointment.
Mr. Boyd, you won't believe it, but the person I just got off the phone with was talking about you.
Seems like I'm pretty popular these days.
By the way, Mr. Boyd, I've got to ask, why $500,000?
Go fuck yourself, Troy Starr.
Good morning. Mr. Boyd, a maniac terrorized the city for 2 weeks and you did nothing. What could have happened to Freeburg if federal agents hadn't come to rescue the dentist? Or words are difficult, have you realised? If federal agents hadn't come to the rescue and arrested the dentist, the situation was under control, the arrest was imminent, you don't know anything, the situation was under control. We've been doing their work behind the scenes, the feds are just here to sip off the cream. The city overflowed with panic after your press conference about the dentist. Why didn't you think more carefully about what you were going to say? The panic was inevitable. I stated the facts. I always say what I think. The panic was inevitable. When there's a serial killer walking the streets, it's natural to flinch at every rustle. After such a failure, any self-respecting office holder would resign. What are your plans? I'm not going anywhere. I'll keep fighting crime, and Freeburg needs me. I'll keep fighting crime. The city has a lot of problems, and I'm not one to run away from a problem. How do you comment on rumours about the relationships between Mayor Rogers and all 5 other dentist's Freeburg victims? Complete nonsense. I am concerned. No comment. Yeah, let's just go no comment. That's just a great way of copying out. Thank you. No worries. Have a nice day, lovely people. Day 82, people. October the 4th. It's a Friday. Freeburg boxer caught in doping scandal. What, are they Russian? Jack Boyd on investigation of dentist. Everything was under control, Jack Boyd. No comment on Mayor's connection to dentist victims. City Hall still don't really like us. And Mafia, yeah, they still love us despite the fact that we continually disrupt their plans. Yours has a big sale going on. No, you can't. You can get right fucked. Jensen, I drank too much. I think I can't hold it together today. Can I go home? Yes, and I got ticket to no cunnilingus, you can't. Stripes to be awarded here, who can it go to? Anyone here that's kinda deserves it? No, not even slightly. We'll just hold off with the star then, or, stripe thing. City Hall just gave us a massive payout. They're quite like that. City Hall requests I can hire a detective. Over here, let's just go in and see. Robert Sharrow. Do I not already have him working for me? Oh well. Or Johnny Iron or Thomas Sellers. Let's get him in on B shift. Close this down. City Hall request. I can hire another police officer. Here, any decent ones? Oh dear. No dear. We'll get my Ruggles in. Or McNamara over here. We'll get him because he's quite good, isn't it? Over here, so A shift, I for A. Can I fire anyone? That's what I want to have a look at here. Can I fire any of these terrible ones? What about Hanlon here? Fire. Any legit? No. Legitimate reasons, disappointingly. What about down here? He was. No. McSpankley. Fire. No. What about those J-books? No. Disappointing. Close it down. Request result. I get 10% more. Great. Yeah, that's disappointing. Anyway, we're still here, and we'll see what we can find now. We have a breaking and entering. Hello? Is this the police? It's Dolores Parks. Someone is in my house. I hear footsteps coming from downstairs. My husband is on a business trip and won't be home for another hour. Please come right now. I know it must be some terrorist who's going to rob and rape me. I've locked myself in my room, but a door won't stop this beast. But we'll get J-Books down there, won't we? Yeah, J-Books, not her, and Mr. Spanky. They can go out there and hopefully get murdered by a terrorist. We now have an unlawful assembly at City Hall. A crowd has gathered on the steps of City Hall demanding that city officials legalise euthanasia. The protesters are chanting, "My life, my death, my choice." City Hall employees report that the people brought homemade signs and the protest is proceeding peacefully. But we can get Iwasi, Cunnilingus, Dixon and King down there. No, we'll just get 3 coppers down there. I'll just stand about, just make sure that nothing escalates out of control. The breaking entering call came back here. Mr. Parks returned from his business trip an hour early. It was he who was making noise in the house. Well, you could have just gone up and say hello to your missus, couldn't you? But you didn't. We now have a suspicious individual at the library. Unlawful assembly call came in. Offender escaped. Officers were unharmed. We can then assign over here. Librarian Rolando Boone reports that a young man came in looking for books on chemistry and monographs on explosive substances and publication of extreme topics. Many of the books he requested are prohibited. The guy looked scary. His eyes made my blood run cold. Could it be the dentist? I don't know, but we'll get those two coppers down there and have a bit of a chat. Chief Boyd, I represent the interests of a private military corporation which is hoping to attract a significant investment from your city. We are preparing an investor presentation and we'd like to demonstrate the inadequacy of police training in matters of public safety. Please understand this is just business and we can all win here. Give us a couple of hours with your weakest and laziest guys and my kids will look like gladiators next to them. I promise you the company will remain in your debt. No way I'm going to make my police force look bad. Is not on. Okay, so at the library, as soon as the suspect sees the police, he pulls a huge knife, not just a big one, but a huge one, from his bag and how do I say that? Rushes towards the librarian, shouting, "You called the pigs!" Attach him with a nightstick. Stop yelling, it's a library. Yes, stop yelling, it's a library, you stupid git. That's not what we do. Yeah, but, he was doing bad stuff in the library. Sometimes you just get it wrong, right? We now have a suspicious individual at Desire Park. Parishioner Marna Bush, while she was... Why is there a comma there? Parishioner Marna Bush, comma, while she was on her way to work. Could you... No. Let's try again. While Parishioner Marna Bush was on her way to work, to church... She encountered a group of incredibly strange teenagers. They were running around in weird costumes, fighting with sticks and talking like robots. Maybe these crazy kids escaped from a mental hospital. Better catch them and send them back. We are not going to attend that call. That's just not... No. Why would we? There's no reason for that. And the suspicious individual call turned out to be unfounded. The members of the science fiction club were just having fun at the park. As I expected, we now have a homicide though. That's a bit more serious. Gladys Schnell was enraged about some comment that her colleague Matthew Toland made, so she grabbed a stapler and began to beat him over the head with it. Then Mrs. Scholl yelled loudly and lashed out at the secretary. She's having a nervous breakdown, please. Alright, so the suspect's boss to phone the incident in. How's that a homicide? I mean, it's just assault. Well, we can get Mr. Spanky and his friend Boogie down there with a bit of SWAT aid. You can, though. Okay, we'll get Cunnilingus down there as well. We now have drug trafficking at the port. An anonymous tip just came in. A large shipment of Colombian coffee is being unloaded. Oh, there, yeah, we're not going to get back in time, are they? Oh, well, we'll just get... It was King, Dixon, George Best, and the guard down there. We also have robbery at the fountains. An elderly Cornelia Davies called up in a fit of hysterics. Come over quick, I've been robbed. The little bastard stole the treasure. Can we just send down George Best and have a bit of a natter? No, you can't. Chief, are you crazy? No, I'm not. But you can get Cecil, so we definitely get the bloke. And we'll keep Mitchell here on standby in case it all kicks off out there. So it's basically a rush to see who can call for backup first in case both or all calls turn out to be hot calls. The woman grabbed a second stapler in her hands. These staplers look like deadly weapons. I'm not sure they do. We've got tasers, nightsticks, pepper spray, and a pistol. Grab the woman's hands, deal the woman a solid blow to the jaw, and look into Bloodshot's eyes and just, deal with her by punching her in the face. That's what we do. Civilians were unharmed apart from the fact that it was a homicide call. You know how it works out. Robbery report was crawling with the mother of a little boy. Yes, whatever. We now have a noise complaint. A respectable sounding man with a sleepy voice called in complaining that fireworks are being set off right in front of his house. They sort of look like bombs and have huge bags filled with all sorts of firecrackers. And yeah, it did turn out to be a bit more hot, so David Mitchell will go down there. We have two calls waiting our attention here. One is the destruction of property at a farm. Patricia Buckler says 10 or so people came onto her farm with some strange equipment. They wandered around with their gear for a while, then stopped and began to dig a huge pit. Her husband didn't approve of people rummaging around on his property, but his attempt to investigate ended in a fight. The farmer was badly beaten. Yeah, this is more of an assault call than a destruction of property call, so we'll go ahead and we'll get Mr. Spanky and J Bloke and Cunnilingus out there. And a noise complaint, which is a respectable sounding man with a sleepy voice called in, complaining that fireworks are being set off right in front of his house. They look like bombs, but they have huge bags filled with all sorts of firecrackers. Can we just get Best out there? Come on, it's a bit of firecracker call. Okay, we can't attend that. We just got to hold off here with further assistance. The noise complaint offenders escaped. Apparently somebody was killed. Just out of noise complaint. No sense at all, but oh well. And down here on the port, people were arrested, civilians were unharmed, officers unharmed, and loot found. We'll bring it to the cop shop. The offenders escaped out by the destruction of property, so there's not much we can do about that, rather unfortunately. And day 82 is coming to a rapid close here unless we get a call, so let's see here and we'll wrap it up in a moment. We can now ask somebody to stay in if we'd like, but I don't know if we do. Well, let's see here. How many's on A shift? Oh, there's plenty of people on A shift, so we don't need to do that. Do we? But somebody might not come in. Let's get George Best to work tomorrow, and everyone else can go home and have a bit of a rest.